COPWATCH, policing the police every single day.
Shocking video shows cop try to kill a dog, shoot 9-year-old girl in the face instead. Harrowing video shows a cop fear for his life over a small barking dog and try to kill it. He misses and hits a 9-year-old girl in the face instead. By Matt Agorist, June 22, 2018. Wichita, Kansas. Earlier this year, a cop was fired after he shot a little girl inside her own home while trying to kill her dog. Showing that they are willing to hold their own accountable, the officer was charged with felony aggravated battery in March. And now, months after the original incident, the video has finally been released from the officer's body camera. On Thursday, Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett released body camera video from Officer Dexter Betts which shows him attempt to kill a 35-pound dog and strike a small 9-year-old girl instead. In January, Betts was placed on administrative leave after discharging his firearm inside a family's home in the cowardly attempt to kill a dog. Then, in an actual moment of accountability, Officer Betts was fired and in March he was charged. The officer was hired last January and barely made it a year before being fired. According to Kansas.com, Betts was the first cop in decades to be charged in an on-duty shooting that resulted in an injury or death. According to the family's attorney, the girl, hit by bullet fragments, was so directly in the line of fire when the officer shot at her dog that the flashlight he shined from above his gun barrel illuminated her face right before he fired. Indeed, this has now been verified by the video. The video shows Betts and his partner approach the house with flashlights and enter through the front door. When they enter the house, several children are seen in the living room watching television. Betts checks the hallway and then returns to the living room where he becomes frightened by the family's medium-sized English Bull Terrier named Chevy. "Okay, we got a dog inside here, too," he says. "Whoa. Whoa." Then, with careless disregard for the children in the room, Betts puts the lives of multiple innocent lives in danger to shoot at a dog who just barked at him. "Ow. Ow. Ow, you hurt my eye. Ow. Ow," the girl begins to yell immediately. Her screams are absolutely heartbreaking. Betts then orders all the children out of the room. When dispatch asks Betts over the radio what happened, he tells them the dog inside attacked us. Apparently barking is now an attack. According to the charge against him, Betts did, unlawfully and recklessly cause bodily harm to another person. The child, in a manner whereby great bodily harm, disfigurement, or death could have been inflicted, to wit, firing a handgun at a dog while a child was in the room. Naturally, Betts' attorney, Jess Holmes, says her client did nothing wrong and was totally in the right when he nearly killed a little girl to prevent the possibility of her small dog biting him. "I expect that this will be litigated at length because I firmly believe that Mr. Betts did not act recklessly under the circumstances, and we look forward to presenting our defense in court," she said. As Kansas.com reports, Charlie O'Hara, attorney for the girl's family, said the child's mother is pleased. She said she was happy with the charge that was filed, and it was the correct thing to do. Still, because of the shooting, the girl is still struggling, O'Hara said, without elaborating. According to the report, O'Hara praised District Attorney Mark Bennett, whose office filed the charge. "I think it is a big deal. I think there's a tendency of certain government officials to treat law enforcement officers differently than the regular public for the same acts, and it appears that Mr. Bennett is treating everyone equally, which is very admirable." As Cake reported at the time, officers were called at around 6:15 p.m. to the report of a domestic disturbance and suicidal person in the 1500 block of North Gentry, near 13th and Hillside. Officer Paul Cruz said in a news release that officers were told a 33-year-old man in the home had held a gun in his mouth and choked a dog. When officers arrived at the home, instead of getting the woman and 4 children to safety, they went in guns blazing after learning that the gun the man had held in his mouth was under a pillow in a bedroom. While the officers were retrieving the gun, a mid-sized mixed-breed dog charged at one of the officers, the release said. The officer pulled his service weapon and shot at the dog, missing it. This is Chevy. Dog. The poorly aimed shot then ricocheted off the floor and a fragment of the bullet struck the innocent 9-year-old girl in the forehead just above her right eye. Had the bullet struck just an inch lower, the poor girl could have been permanently blinded or worse. Danielle Maples, the girl's mother, recounted the horrifying experience to the press, noting that her daughter was sitting down on the couch when she was struck in the head. Also, her 6-year-old son was standing right next to the officer when he fired not one but 2 shots. The little girl was brought to the hospital and treated for her injuries. Luckily, Maple's 3 other children were not physically injured. However, the emotional scarring left by this experience could last a lifetime. Maples explained how at the hospital doctors removed 3 fragments of the bullet from her daughter's head, showing just how close she'd come to being blinded. Wichita Police Chief Gordon Ramsey reportedly told Maples in a phone conversation after GE watched the video that what he witnessed was not only morally wrong but against their protocols and training. He didn't say why, she said. As for the suicidal man in the home, luckily he was not killed and completely cooperated with police. He was also brought to a hospital where he was given a mental health exam, according to the police statement. Whether or not Betts will be convicted for his criminal negligence remains unknown. For the sake of little girls everywhere, however, we hope he is. Spread the love.
Hey, okay, what's going on? Woo. Okay, got a dog inside here too. Whoa, whoa! Get out. That's right. That dog came and attacked me.
I can't hear you guys. What just happened?
Dog inside. Attacked it. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Step out of the house and clear the dogs in this back window. Step on out. Clear the house.
All right, we're coming out. Coming out.
You guys copy? Step out of the house. The dogs in the bedroom. Dispatch. Start me 1 or 2 more. What are you doing, Rob?
What were you doing here?
We're fine. This charge on an animal attack the dog.
Oh my God. You got EMS en route? Get off the air. I'm not on that. Okay, you're right.
So it's talking to EMS when the kids are hit. Have them 39. Notification for me.
Yeah.
Stay put, relax right here for me.
Okay.
140.
Start recording. Oh my God, it's starting crazy right now. He shot my daughter. He shot my daughter. Please hurry up and let me go, my daughter. Let me take my daughter to the hospital. Please let my daughter go to the hospital.
All other kids okay?
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay. You see that big dog come out?
I didn't see it, man.
Holy cow, that thing came at me quick.
I was in the room. I didn't see it, man.
Okay.
She over there, I think.
She went to a different house.
I think she over there.
As soon as I heard the shots, the officer that was with me, I mean, I started screaming, you know, what's happened. I hear someone say, they've shot your dog. And instantly I asked him, why were you in my house? And then, of course, at that time, he was trying to console me, and I think he looked shocked of, you know, what had just happened, because, of course, he was on the side of the house with me. Right after that, I hear, it's dark out, so really, you know, it was hard to see, but I hear my husband say they've hit my daughter. And I remember I just remember screaming and saying, what have you done? Because I couldn't even imagine what was going on, why he would have shot, you know. There were so many questions I had, and of course he couldn't answer them for me because he was standing there with me. He didn't know what was going on either. So at that time, he actually, as soon as he heard that my daughter had been hit, he said, let me take you to my car. And I think I told him why. I want to go in my house. I want to see what happened. I need to know. And you know, I was like freaking out. I just couldn't even gather my thoughts. I wanted to physically see what was going on, and they weren't going to allow me to. So I was taken to the car, and I sat for probably a good 5 to 10 minutes. I think a sergeant actually came to the car because I was yelling at that point, you know, what has happened? Where's my daughter? Why did you shoot my dog? What, you know, I just had so many questions and nobody could answer them for me.
Police use who may want to retaliate against him physically.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County, and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.